The Inquisition cannot remain, Ambassador, if you can't prove it was founded on Justinia's orders.
This is an inopportune time, Marquis. More of the faithful flock here each day. But allow me to introduce you to the brave soul who risked his life to slow the magic of the breach. Master
Hello.
Gavilan, this is the Marquis Durellion, one of Divine Justinia's greatest supporters.
And the rightful owner of Haven. How
What?
Durellion lend Justinia these lands for pilgrimage? This Inquisition is not a beneficiary of this arrangement.
You own this land?
This is the first I've heard of Haven having an owner outside the Chantry.
My wife, Lady Machin of Denerim, has claimed to Haven by ancient treaty with the monarchs of Herald. We were honored to lend its use to Divine Justinia. She was a woman of supreme merit. I will not let an upstart order remain on her holy grounds.
But the Divine's advisors were the one that founded it.
Interesting, considering the Inquisition was begun by the left and right hands of the Divine.
I've seen no written records from Sister Liliana or Seeker Pentecost that Justinia approved the Inquisition.
If you won't take her at her word, I'm afraid Seeker Pentagast must challenge him to a duel.
What?
It is a matter of honor among the Navarrans. Shall I arrange the bout for tonight?
No. No. Perhaps my reaction to the Inquisition's presence was somewhat hasty.
We face a dark time, Your Grace. Divine Justinia would not want her passing to divide us. She would, in fact, trust us to forge new alliances to the benefit of all, no matter how strange they might seem.
I'll think on it, Lady Montillier. The Inquisition might stay in the meanwhile.
So, does he actually own Haven?
Do the Durellions actually have a claim on this place?
His Grace's position is not so strong as he presents it. Despite our Ferelden relations, the Durellions are our legion. If the Marquis wishes to claim Haven, Empress Selene must negotiate with the Ferelden on his behalf. Her current concerns are a bit larger than minor property disputes.
Right. Well, I must say, you handled the Marquis pretty well.
I'm so pleased the Marquis isn't tossing us out into the cold.
His Grace is only the first of many dignitaries we must contend with.
You expect more people in Haven?
Undoubtedly. And each visitor will spread the story of the Inquisition after they depart. An ambassador should ensure the tale is as complimentary as possible.
Right. So, how did you become an ambassador?
May I ask what brought you to work for the Inquisition?
Sister Liliana approached me. We've been acquainted for quite some time. For better or
Oh, yeah.
worse, being the Inquisition's diplomat has become as interesting as she promised.
And what's your background?
What sort of dealings have you had with nobility?
For some years, I was the royally appointed court ambassador from Antiva to Orlais. The nobility of Thedas is a rather singular sphere. Those I'm not acquainted with, I know through reputation.
I see. Well, I'm glad you're here.
The Inquisition is lucky to have you as an advocate, Lady Montillier.
Thank you. Let us hope so. Thedas's politics have become agitated as of late. I hope to guide us down smoother paths. But please excuse me. I've much work to do before the day is done.
You're the Herald. Or, well, the one they're calling the Herald, anyway. I hope the Inquisition can restore order soon. I never really wanted to leave the Circle. My name is Maeve. I research demons and other creatures. Seeker Pentagast and I use what I find to help the soldiers fight them.
Oh, so you're a mage.
You said you were a mage?
No, just an apprentice. I was never very good at magic. I've got just enough talent to be a danger to other people. But when the mages rebelled, people like me had nowhere to go. The Templars would have killed us. Luckily, Seeker Pentagast took me in, along with the Tranquil I was protecting.
Oh yeah. You protected the Tranquil.
You said that you were keeping some of the Tranquil safe?
Yes. The mages took some of them when my circle rebelled, but the rest were forgotten. Most circle mages look down on the Tranquil, or try to pretend they don't exist. They don't have any emotions. They can barely take care of themselves, can't defend themselves at all. It's a shame. I like them better than most people.
Why is that?
Why would you want to spend time with the Tranquil?
They're polite. They don't bother you if they don't need something. When they study, they have a focus no normal person could ever match. But the Templars, even some of the mages, mistreated them just because they could. The Tranquil never fought back. If not for that, I don't know. Doesn't really matter now.
I see. But why didn't you join the rebels?
I'm surprised that even an apprentice mage wouldn't join the rebellion.
I don't like using magic to fight. I'm not good at it either. I liked studying. I liked performing rituals that helped us unlock the secrets of the Veil. I liked having the Templars around to keep us safe.
Right. Well, it's a pity you aren't Dalish.
You might have done well among the Dalish. Our mages are encouraged to study safely.
Fenrir will take the Dalish. Don't let my lack of Valisline fool you, Lethaline. I was a proud member of my clan until my magic manifested. You know what happens when they have too many mages. They gave me a pack and sent me into the woods to find my own life. I was 7 years old.
Well, that's not good.
I'm so sorry.
I stumbled into a village, starving and cold a few weeks later. I started using magic to scare predators away. The villagers saw me make fire in my fist. They were terrified and wanted to kill me. Templars saved me from them. They gave me food and clothes and took me to the Circle. I've seen what life is like without the Templars, and I want no part of it. I just want to study.
So, you researched creatures.
You said Cassandra has you researching creatures.
Yes. If you find anything interesting in your travels, I'd appreciate you bringing it to me. I may be able to find some weakness our soldiers can exploit when fighting various creatures. At the least, some materials are useful for making potions or gear for the Inquisition.
So why study creatures?
Why did you decide to research dangerous creatures?
I like the outdoors. The idea of the outdoors, anyway. When some monster
Right.
is coming at you, glowing eyes and burning claws, it's terrifying. But once you know how it works, you can deal with it. It's just another part of the world. So much of this world is only frightening because we don't understand it.
Well, I managed to find something for you.
I found something the demons left behind. Can you use it?
Yes, that's very helpful. Just leave it there and the Tranquil and I will examine it.
Alright,
We can use that.
there we go.
Blessed are the peacekeepers, the champions of the just. Blessed are the righteous, the lights in the shadow. In their blood, the Maker's will is written. Is that what you want from us? Blood? To die so that your will is done? Is death your only blessing?
You speak Fandraste, no?
Uh,
What does the Maker's prophet have to say about all of this? What's his game?
Game.
How is this a game?
Do you see the sky? What about the temple ruins? The bones lying in the dust? Even if you didn't support the Divine's peace, you wouldn't call this right. Who could? So many innocent lives. The faithful murdered where the holiest of holies once stood. If the Maker willed this, what is it if not a game or a cruel joke?
Well, I don't know. I'm as confused as you.
Don't ask me. I'm as baffled as you are.
You probably don't even worship the Maker. Lucky. He asks a lot. The Chantry teaches that the Maker abandoned us. He demands repentance for our sins. He demands it all. Our lives, our deaths. Justinia gave him everything she had, and he let her die.
Yes, my sympathies.
I'm sorry. Her death has clearly hit you hard.
Not just me. All of us. She was the divine. She led the faithful. She was the heart. If the Maker doesn't intervene to save the best of his servants, what good is he? I used to believe I was chosen, just as some say you are. I thought I was fulfilling his purpose for me, working with the divine, helping people. But now she's dead. It was all for nothing. Serving the Maker meant nothing.
Is there any way I can help you with this?
Maybe you have another purpose. I could help you find it.
No, this is my burden. I regret that I even let you see me like this. It was a moment of weakness. It won't happen again. Come. To work, then. We will speak later.
Oh. Alright.
What may I do for you?
Greetings, Lady Montelier. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your work.
What did you do before coming here?
I had the great honor of serving Antiva's crown as ambassador to Orlais. I'm also first in line to become the head of House Montelier, though my siblings attend to our mercantile affairs.
So, are you doing this for Antiva?
How strong are your past loyalties?
I would never have given up my position if I did not intend to fully commit to the Inquisition. We cannot fall back on borders. Antiva is as threatened as any country by the rebellions. If anything, the alliances I forged there may help our current cause.
Will we have other causes?
Do you think the Inquisition will continue after we seal the breach?
If we prove ourselves by healing the breach, people may turn to us for other things. Protection, counsel, justice. The Inquisition offered these once to those in need.
Right. What does your family do?
What business are the Monteliers in, exactly?
We began as merchants. My ancestors founded the first trade routes to Rivain. We once sent entire fleets across the Waking Sea.
Once.
But not anymore?
No. These days, our vessels are a touch more modest.
So do you believe I'm holy?
Tell me, do you believe I was saved by Andraste at the Temple of Sacred Ashes?
I should much like to believe so, Your Worship. The miracles Andraste performed were so long ago, they're difficult to picture. If it were truly her and the Fate who saved you... Well, in any case, many already believe you walk in the Maker's light.
Well, goodbye.
Let's speak later.
Farewell.
True. Butler has stand on us.
Oh?
My hunch was wrong.
You knew him well?
Not as well as I thought. Show me the reports. There were so many questions surrounding Faria's death. Did he think we wouldn't notice? He's killed Faria, one of my best agents, and knows where the others are. You know what must be done. Make it clean. Painless if you can. We were friends once.
Whoa. Liliana. You don't really have to kill him, do you?
Wait, what are you doing?
He betrayed us. He murdered my agent.
And you'd kill him, just like that.
You find fault with my decision?
Yeah, just that one.
I'm sure most of your decisions are fine, but that one, a little extreme.
Extreme? Butler's betrayal put our agents in danger. I condemned one man to save dozens. I may not like what I do, but it must be done. I cannot afford the luxury of ideals at a time like this.
Ideals are crucial at a time like this.
Now is precisely the time for ideals.
You feel very strongly about this. Very well. I will think of another way to deal with this man. Apprehend Butler, but see that he lives. Now, if you're happy, I have more work to do.
You there.
There's a shield in your hand. Block with it. If this man were your enemy, you'd be dead. Lieutenant, don't hold back. The recruits must prepare for a real fight, not a practice one.
Yes, Commander.
We've received a number of recruits. Locals from Haven and some pilgrims. None made quite the entrance you did.
Well, I do like to stand out.
At least I got everyone's attention.
That you did. I was recruited to the Inquisition in Kirkwall myself. I was there during the Mage Uprising. I saw firsthand the devastation it caused.
Sir.
Cassandra sought a solution. When she offered me a position, I left the Templars to join her cause. Now it seems we face something far worse.
Right. Do you trust in the Inquisition?
You left the Templars for this. You believe the Inquisition can work?
I do. The Chantry lost control of both Templars and Mages. Now they argue over a new divine while the breach remains. The Inquisition could act when the Chantry cannot. Our followers would be part of that. There's so much we can... Forgive me. I doubt you came here for a lecture.
No, it's alright. I don't mind.
You understand our situation. I appreciate your opinion.
Look around. Our people are well organized and committed. Despite what the clerics think, we are in the best position to help. There's still a lot of work ahead.
Commander, Sir Ryden has a report on our supply lines.
As I was saying.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
I'll try my best. So, you're Justinia's left hand.
They called you the left hand of the Divine.
That they did? What of it?
What is the left hand, exactly?
What exactly does the left hand of the Divine do?
A divine always has enemies, and Justinia had more than most. I protected her. I watched, had an ear to every door. I identified threats, and I dealt with them.
And why so many enemies, do you think?
Why did Justinia have so many enemies?
There were many who felt she was unfit to be divine. She had a past, a worldly life. Unlike many, she wasn't given to the Chantry as a child. She chose it, and somehow that made her unworthy. And because they thought she was unworthy, they wished her harm.
I see. Well, it's a bit shady.
It sounds like you did some unscrupulous things as the left hand.
Perhaps, but wouldn't you do anything to protect what you love?
Well, there must be some exceptions. Surely. Tell me more about Justinia.
I'd like to hear about Justinia. What was she like?
A friend. A mentor. Like me, she had secrets, made mistakes. It made her human. I think her followers responded to that.
How did you meet?
How did you and Justinia meet?
I met her a long time ago, before she became divine. Before she was Justinia. When I met her, she was Mother Dorothea. I was at my lowest. Broken. Lost. And she saved me. No, wait. She hates it when I say that. I saved myself. She just showed me it was possible.
Alright, well, let's continue this later.
We'll talk more later.
Alright?
Worried?
Is it that obvious?
I'm afraid so.
Did I do the right thing? What I have set in motion here could destroy everything I have revered my whole life. One day they may write about me as a traitor, a madwoman, a fool, and they may be right.
Well, what do you believe?
What does your faith tell you?
I believe you are innocent. I believe more is going on here than we can see. And I believe no one else cares to do anything about it. They will stand in the fire and complain that it is hot. But is this the Maker's will? I can only guess.
You don't think I'm chosen?
You don't think I'm the Herald of Andraste?
I think you were sent to help us. I hope you were. But the Maker's help takes many forms. Sometimes it's difficult to discern who it truly benefits, or how.
Right. Well, it was the necessary decision, I think.
You didn't have any choice.
Didn't I?
Well, I guess.
My trainers always said, Cassandra, you are too brash. You must think before you act. I see what must be done, and I do it. I see no point in running around in circles like a dog chasing its tail. But I misjudged you in the beginning, did I not? I thought the answer was before me, clear as day. I cannot afford to be so careless again.
You had cause.
It wasn't like you had no reason to suspect me.
I was determined to have someone answer for what happened. Anyone. You've said you believe you're chosen. Does that mean you believe in the Maker?
No. I don't believe in your god.
I'm Dalish. I believe in our own gods.
And there's no room among your gods for one more? I suppose it doesn't matter now. I have to believe we were put on this path for a reason, even if you do not. Now it simply remains to see where it leads us.
Yes?
Hello. Tell me about yourself.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Yes. Tell me about your past.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I was a bard, an Orlesian spy for many years. For a time I also served a small cloister in Lothering. After the Blight, the Divine called on me to oversee her personal network.
I see. Got any stories?
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
Fair enough.
I should leave you to your work.
We can always talk later.
Zip.
It occurs to me I don't actually know much about you.
What do you want to know?
I'm not sure. Where are you from?
My clan never stayed in one place for long, so we primarily roamed the free marches.
Oh? I didn't think your people roamed that far north. But clearly I'm mistaken. I'm told some members of your clan might still be alive. Do you intend to go back?
Eventually, perhaps.
I might, once this is done.
It will not be the same once you do.
Yeah, sounds about right. So, tell me about yourself.
I'd like to get to know you better.
You would?
Is that a problem?
Sure.
Not entirely. I'm just curious as to your motivation.
Oh, you know, I'd like us to be a little closer.
Is there any harm in us becoming a little closer?
Plenty.
Is that right?
As you wish. My name is Cassandra Pentegas, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne. I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lord.
So you're Navarran royalty, eh?
You're a member of Navarra's royal family.
The Pentaghasts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No, but it feels that way. I have
Oh.
hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them. Oh yes. The Pentaghasts value their precious blood like it runs with gold.
So you're not on good terms?
So, not on very good terms with your family then?
I do not visit, if that's what you mean. The Pentaghasts are famed for dragon hunting, but few actually pursue the craft. Most are fat and lazy. They pay lip service to the Maker and care only for idle pleasures and past glories. My brother was all that kept me in Navarra. Once he was gone, so was I.
Your brother? What happened to your brother?
Tell me about your brother.
I would prefer not to speak of Anthony. Another time, perhaps.
Oh. Alright, well, tell me about Navarra.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then I realized I knew it not at all.
What about your parents?
Your uncle. What about your parents?
They had the misfortune of taking the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus. The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Excuse me? A mortalitasi?
Your uncle was a mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead, they bury them in special crypts. The mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the grand necropolis. Navarrans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
So, you worked for the Divine.
So you were the right hand to the Divine.
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position
Oh, yeah.
is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
How so?
Don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be. The short version is that I once saved the previous Divine's life. My reward was becoming her right hand.
Right, and what is a right hand exactly?
But what does a right hand do exactly?
What is your hand capable of? It gives.
Oh,
it beckons.
many things.
It makes a fist. Liliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand Cathedral. We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
So you believed in her.
You thought she could really change things.
Justinia knew the war was coming long before it began. She tried to avert it, but the forces arrayed against her were too strong. Sometimes you have to break a bone so it can be reset. That's where the Inquisition comes in. It was to be the answer. A means to preserve as well as an agent for change. I only wish she had lived to see it.
So how did you become Red Hand?
So what's the story about you becoming the right hand?
Sweet Andraste, do you really want to hear that? It was,
Sure.
what, 18, 20 years ago? Some still discuss it like it happened yesterday. The tale gets bigger each time it's told. I barely recognize myself within it now.
I'm sure you're just being modest.
I'm sure you're just being modest.
Exactly.
I was there. I think I know what happened. To hear others tell it, I alone saved Divine Beatrix from a horde of dragons sent to assault the Grand Cathedral. Rather impressive for such a young seeker, wouldn't you say?
And the truth is?
I stumbled upon a conspiracy to kill Beatrix. A Templar Knight Commander was at its heart. And there was a dragon battle at the Grand Cathedral, but I had help from loyal mages who rallied to the cause. They freed the dragons from magical control. Without them, the Divine and I would both have died. Yet I became the right hand, and they are forgotten.
What became of the mages?
What happened to the mages that helped you?
They went back to their circles, with rewards and privileges and most holy gratitude. Many of them died at the conclave.
Well, you're just delightful, ain't you?
You're delightful. You know that?
No, I do not know that.
Well, now you do.
I object. There is nothing delightful about me.
I beg to differ.
Well, I beg to differ.
I think I preferred you in the stocks.
Ho ho. Fair enough.
I'll let you get back to work. Yes?
Hello. Tell me about yourself, Cullen.
I should get to know you better. We're working together after all.
What would you like to know?
All right. Where are you from?
I grew up in Ferelden near Honolulu. I was transferred to Kirkwall shortly after the Blight. This is the first I've returned in almost 10 years.
Right. Tell me about Kirkwall.
What was Kirkwall like?
While I was there, Canary occupied and then attacked the city. The Viscount's murder caused political unrest. Relations between mages and Templars fell apart. An apostate blew up the Chantry, and the Knight Commander went mad. Other than that, it was fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, tell me about the rebellion.
What happened between Kirkwall's mages and Templars?
You were at the conclave. You must have heard people speak of it.
Yes, but you were
A
there.
little bit.
There was tension between mages and Templars long before I arrived. Eventually, it reached a breaking point. There was fighting in the streets. Abominations began killing both sides. It was a nightmare.
But how did it end?
The Templars should have restored order. Red Lyrian had driven Knight Commander Meredith mad. She threatened to kill Kirkwall's champion. Turned on her own men. I'm not sure how far she would have gone. Too far.
So you opposed her?
I stood with the champion against her, in the end. I should have seen through Meredith sooner.
So Varric's from Kirkwall.
Varric's from Kirkwall. Did you two know each other?
I knew he was friends with the champion of Kirkwall, but little else. We've spoken more since I joined the Inquisition, largely at Varric's insistence. Apparently, I spend too much time with a serious expression on my face, and it's bad for my health.
Right. You were away a long time.
You haven't seen Ferelden in 10 years. Are you glad to be back?
I was not sorry to leave at the time. I did not expect to return. Now, between the Divine's murder and the breach, I've arrived to find nothing but chaos.
Tell me about the Blight.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight. Did you fight Darkspawn?
No. I was stationed at Ferelden's Circle Tower. The Circle had troubles of its own. I remained there during the Blight.
What happened at the Circle?
What happened at the Circle Tower?
Few who survived the Blight have fond memories of that time. I would prefer not to speak of it.
Fair enough.
I'll let you return to your work.
Should you require anything, I'll be here.
Say it.
Yes?
So, tell me about the Seekers.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
But what are Seekers?
What are Seekers, exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
And who watched you?
So nobody ever watched over the Seekers?
It was the Divine's duty. But she could only do so much when the truth was hidden from her. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
I see. Could that be fixed?
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
So how do you become a Seeker?
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the Vigil, and most fail even then.
What is the Vigil?
Is the Vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We empty ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
Well, it does sound wonderful.
I wish I could experience that.
If the Vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
Yeah. So, after a year of fasting and prayers, what abilities do Seekers end up having?
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, so that depends on the individual.
Oh yeah? And what are your gifts?
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame. Both mages and Templars bend before my will. Some Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
I see. So what do you think the Seekers rebelled?
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
And do you disagree?
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes...
Seem to care deeply about this.
You seem to care a great deal about it.
Too much, if you ask the rest of my order. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
Alright, well, it's enough talk for now.
I've no more questions. Yes?
So, tell me about Templar life.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
If you need insight into what the Order is doing now, I'm afraid I can't offer more than you already know. Anything else, I will answer as best I can.
So, why did you become a Templar?
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars as our local Chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
It's not very old.
15. It's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
Right. Well, what about your family?
What about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course, but there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
I see. So, what do Templars do exactly?
Do the Templars do anything besides hunt mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
And what do you think of mages?
What do you think of mages? Are they all a threat?
I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession at least.
And how are the Templars trained?
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thedas. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Did you enjoy it?
Did you enjoy your training?
I wanted to learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the chant of transfiguration wasn't the most exciting task. I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
Tell me about their vows.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing?
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter, your first draft of lyrium and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
So you've lived in the Circle.
You've lived in the Circle. What was a typical day for a Templar there?
Typical. The last time I was in the Circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's howling, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the Circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
Do you not speak to the mages?
Do Templars and mages never speak to each other?
Some do, but Templars are supposed to maintain a certain distance from their charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
I see. Well, that's all for now.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
Goodbye.
Yes?
So, let's talk about the Chantry.
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
What can you tell me about Chancellor Roderick?
What influence does Chancellor Roderick really wield?
He's a bureaucrat, responsible for communicating the Divine's will to the rest of the Chantry. Therefore, he's accustomed to the clerics hanging on his every word, hoping his influence will benefit them. Despite that, Roderick is not a bad man. He's frightened, and believes his place is to fill the gap left by Most Holy's death. Some might agree. As far down the chain of command as he is, there is no one left above him.
Do you think he'll be a problem?
How big a problem could he be?
No more than he is already. He sent his message to the College of Clerics. That is the only card he had to play. Dealing with him further only lends him credibility he doesn't deserve.
Alright, well, that's all for now.
Thank you.
Did you need something?
Hello. Tell me about your colleagues.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean?
Tell me about our soldiers.
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Our numbers are small, but they suit our needs for the time being. Some Templars have joined us instead of following the Order. They've proven invaluable in training new recruits.
How's working with Josephine?
What do you think of our ambassador?
We have little in common. How she delights in meeting with nobles all day is beyond me. But I enjoy working with her.
And Liliana? What do you think of her?
How do you like working with Liliana?
The Inquisition would not exist without her. I may not always agree with her methods, but she's more passionate about our cause than anyone. Cassandra may have declared the Inquisition publicly, but Liliana is just as responsible for its formation.
Alright.
I should let you get back to work.
Say it.